Hello, 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 hello. We are back again.
With fashion today, but it's sad fashion.
Very sad fashion. I think that, we both work as stylists and Vogue magazine, has been around for more than a century at this point. And the current state that is in is just very, very sad. It just really, really breaks my heart. Vogue is supposed to be a cultural reflection of the times. And I think in Anna Wintour's mind, she's doing that, but the magazine is so visually and in terms of a cultural
All
zeitgeist,
over the
so out
place.
of touch that I don't know who the audience is because it's not you,
It's
it's not me,
yeah, it's
not
all
my
over the place.
mom, and it's not for anybody younger than us. So
Yeah,
I don't understand who the reader is anymore.
it's crazy. So they recently did their January cover with the one and only VP Kamala Harris. But there's an uproar about the photos because people don't think that the photos look worthy of a vice president, and we agree.
I am very confused now. I have a friend who is the creative director of a competitor magazine who's very close friend of mine, like somebody that I text every day.
Mm-hmm,
And when the left-hand image came out on some of the artist representation sites, that's on
mm-hmm,
Instagram, that's where I first became aware of this cover and this image.
mm-hmm.
People were like, "Was that supposed to be released? Was that a mock-up? Was that?" And a
No, it's
mock,
the real thing because
yeah.
I think I think with the whole backstory, the thing they were trying to play off of is, I guess she's known for liking comfortable pants and her Converse, so they wanted to lean into that, I guess. But the problem is, it's a Vogue cover,
Mhm.
and Vogue is known for creating fantasy for the covers and looking expensive, and it's just a matter of it's not on the same level as the past big, like, not even extravagant, just like the past level of what a Vogue cover should be as far as like taste level. She's literally wearing Converse and
Yeah,
fucking jeans.
and
So
so
it almost looks thrown together, and it's offensive because it's the first black vice president, so it looks like you didn't put any effort into it. That's where the problem is. And like, well, I'll get to it later when I show you guys like the past covers that they've done. But this just looks like it costs like fucking $40 to put together because they literally hung a fucking fabric, and then also on top of that too, I'm all for a storyline, and anyone knows me, like, I do like to play, I like fabric as a backdrop. It's like one of my things I do like to do when my styling work. I do like to use fabric as a backdrop. I'm into it. But this, almost, because the back, if you look closely at the pink and green one, oh, the pink and green is from her sorority, so they were also trying to play into her colors apparently, but not the way to do it. But it looks, it almost has like a Victorian
mhm.
vibe to it because of the more so because of the green.
Yeah,
But then when you pair it with that
definitely.
pink, it makes it even worse because it's almost like or it's not a wallpaper, but it's like that fabric is printed and it's giving you very much a Victorian like feel. So that with that, it's like it lends itself to a Victorian type backdrop and feel. But then you have Converse skinny jeans and a black denim blazer, so it looks all over the place. So it doesn't look like the concept is fleshed out. So that's why I feel like there's another problem and why people are outraged, because it's just like you threw something together, and for all people, you should not be throwing anything together for the vice president. That's the one you should have put the most time into. So I understand why people are upset.
Yeah, and for those audience members who don't know what a mock-up is a sort of test of the cover. They'll probably do up to 70, with different typography, different poses, different photo editing, different outfits to see what works best. And then that's further goes to another
Yeah.
market where they focus group it and see which one is going to perform well on the newsstand. And like you said, I don't see any of that. I don't see any of that thought pontification,
Mhm.
um, elevation to anything on this cover. And exactly like you said, the background speaks to a kind of Marie Antoinette Rococo thing. This would have been more appropriate background for when Kristen Dunst did the cover of Vogue about 15 years ago for the Marie Antoinette Sophia Coppola movie. I
Well,
don't
remember Rue's cover was kind of like Marie Antoinette too. Remember Rue's cover?
uh
Rue had a Vogue cover.
oh, those interior shots. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Annie shot it.
Yeah.
Remember?
So
And
yeah,
that kind
that
of like it
exactly.
wasn't like Victorian exactly, but it kind of was like feeling like that.
But
It would
that
have made more
still
sense with that than
made
this, huh?
sense. Yeah, that still made sense,
Mm-hmm.
so and like you said, this just does not make a bit of aesthetic sense whatsoever. This background does not go with the jacket. Are those leggings
Exactly.
or jeans? No one really knows.
They're like, and then the blazer is actually like a denim material. And the thing is, it's the vice president. Like it
Yeah.
should be luxe. So it's not even so much that like, well, it's what she's wearing too, but it's also that it doesn't look expensive. It's the vice president. She should look expensive. It should look luxe. Why is she wearing Converse? And I get she likes wearing it, but just because she likes wearing it doesn't mean that you need to put it on the cover. Like you need to put like thought into the cover and make it look expensive and treat her like a vice president. So I feel like it's disrespectful because it's just kind of like
And
we know like
every first lady in history has either been on the cover or done a sitting by Vogue. I think the only person who has not done it has been Melania Trump. And that Melania has still been on the cover, but long before she was first lady, it was when she got married to Donald Trump, and they did a big
mm-hmm.
multiple page story on her and the Galliano dress and Donald Trump's new bride. But that was definitely a different era for them. As we know, Michelle Obama has done several covers for Vogue,
Mm-hmm.
looking exquisite every single time. Hillary Clinton had a big makeover in the 90s after the presidential scandal, where, she came out looking super glam. People thought
Right.
she'd never look better. And exactly like you said, both of us, and I think so many of the people we're probably speaking to or watch this video, are such big fans of Kamala. And this is
Yeah.
such a big, big letdown in
It's a letdown.
in terms of that. Now, I don't quite know the story. I've been a little bit in my graduate school bubble this week because it was my first week of school. What is the story with the image on the right? Is this a
So the
subscriber
image on the
cover?
right, I mean, it's just they just threw her in what they threw her in what she normally wears.
Which is far better than what's going on the
And
left.
it's far better than the left. But even that to me lacks a story. They
Mhm.
tried to tie in the fabric from the other one and change the backdrop to a different color, and there it was their attempt at being cohesive, but the whole story doesn't make sense.
And
Now, hmm?
go ahead, keep going.
Oh yeah, but yes, that one is better. But even that, it's kind of it's poorly fit, and quite frankly, that one doesn't even necessarily look like the suit she normally wears or look more like that one to me looks cheap too. Like I'm not feeling that suit. Like there's just a level of luxness missing from both images,
Oh,
and that should be there for a vice president. So I think that's what's most offensive about it and why people are outraged. And then on top of that, we're also missing the fact that another reason why people are outraged is they lightened her skin. So I will
oh, you think
speak,
so? I
or
didn't.
that's
I didn't.
or rather people think they lighten her skin. Now what I will say is from a stylist
I
standpoint,
had not heard that
working
yet.
with oh no, that's in fact that's kind of like one of the main reasons there's an outrage actually, is
Mhm.
because people feel like they lined her skin. Now what I will say though is coming from a stylist standpoint, when working with photography and working with shoots, when lighting hits you a certain way, it can blow you out and it can make you pale. So it's possible that happened for her. Like so someone with like a yeah, like even me, like if too much light's on me, I'll become light skinned, if you will. So too much light can happen. So I think they did blast her with light. However, knowing today's political climate,
Mhm.
you need to double check because even though light blasts you like that, you can go back and put the color back in.
Right.
So
And
they
I
didn't even
also,
take the time to put the color back in.
to be honest, just speaking from like a personal standpoint, Kamala are probably about the same skin tone in terms of oliveness. And, I'm way darker in summer than I am in winter. This is probably shot, November, October, post summer. So she just may be on the lighter side.
They could be on the lighter side now, and even if that is the case, though, but they still could have. They still, I do know that light is blasted at her, so they could have still toned it down though, because we could
Mhm.
go back and tone out some of the brightness. Because even like my pictures too, like if I take a shot or whatever, like I mean like of myself, and I like a selfie of myself or whatever, or like a photographer takes one of me, I'll like tone myself and put some color back in so it doesn't look like I'm trying to do like lighten myself.
Right.
So I feel like there's no denying though that too much light was blasted on her, so they could have put some color back. But I'm not saying even when they put the color back, she's gonna all of a sudden be like light skin or your color or anyone's or darker. But I'm just saying they left it how the light was, and they shouldn't have done
Yeah.
that either.
And I don't know any of
Which
the
is why people,
details of the shoot, but it really looks like she was
because you'll see,
shot,
because look, even if you look at the two right now, the
Mhm.
one on the right is like more of her closer to her skin tone. The other cover
Oh,
is super
now I
blasted out. You
see
see?
it. I see it now. I
Hmm.
didn't,
We
it was
lost
very,
the oliveness of her. We
yeah, it
lost
was
the
very
undertone of olive.
subtle. That's why I didn't see it. But
Hmm.
now that you mentioned it,
Yeah. So they didn't go back, and they could have matched. Like
yeah,
it's easy to match something to another one. So they didn't even have the decency to do that. They could
yeah.
have matched that one to
Well,
the other cover. So
this
there's all these things.
obviously was shot in some type of government building. There is obviously no sunlight in this room
Well, you don't need to. I'm sure they didn't.
whatsoever.
I'm sure they didn't even use sunlight. I'm sure they used lights.
Um,
It's a
And
studio shot. I'm sure they use lights only.
really,
But
for me, at the end of the day, with the comparison of these two images left and right, it really just comes down to photo editing and semiotics.
yeah,
This is
but
just
no,
a
but it's photo
bad
edit. It's
choice.
photo editing half. But the bigger issue, I think, starts with the concept is lacking.
Yeah,
There
no
was
doubt.
no concept, and concept is the start of every shoot. So if
Mhm.
there's not a strong concept, you're fucked. So and then if it's not a strong concept, and then if you don't have a stylist or someone who has the ability to tie the two in together to make sense, then you're fucked. And that's the problem here. They came up with that concept with the drape and that kind of backdrop, and the stylist didn't have the sense. Whoever the fuck the stylist is, whoever that stylist is, we need to find him. But they fucked up because it's just like, and don't get me wrong, I'm all for playing into what you're comfortable in, but that's not your job right now as the stylist. It's to create a beautiful shot and make her still feel comfortable. Just because she feels comfortable in sneakers doesn't mean you put her in sneakers still. And it's like her thing or whatever. It doesn't mean you still put her in sneakers. You can find something that's respectable and chic and crisp and looks presidential. You're gonna put a black president in Converse. It's offensive. It's like there's like an undertone of almost like an undertone of racism. I know I'm reaching, but it is almost like an undertone of racism because it's like let's put the black girl in sneakers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like reaching, but I feel like that it could be interpreted that way too.
I think it would have been fine for probably like an interior shot, but not for the cover, for the
That
sneakers,
too.
not for the
Yeah,
cover.
and definitely not for the cover. You're right. That
And,
as well. But
going back to the photo editing, semiotics conversation, the image on the left does not negate power. It's just very casual. It's very reportage. It's
mhm.
very in the moment. Where this image on the
I'll
right,
say the one on the right does give power. It's a little bit
yeah,
more power. Yes, I'll give you that.
signifies
But
power, vice president,
mhm,
woman in charge, leadership. Like this would be fine for like if this was her LinkedIn shot, just paring it down to that,
mhm.
or some type of, press shot for her. But exactly like you said, it does not
And then yeah,
give the
and we'll get
Vogue.
into yeah, and we'll get into like more shots later, like next. But and then okay, fine. And then this is where like the stylist needs to put their hat on. Okay, say you do want to play up on her Converse being like her signature, then
Mhm.
do it in a chic way do it in a chic way that looks editorial and it's telling a cute story. You don't just because right now it's serving an afterthought. If I were to do it, and they were sold on the wanting to use the Converse, but if I were to take on the job, I would have found some type of I will. Well, first of all, I'm gonna switch up the whole backdrop. But I would have. I don't know what backdrop I would do yet. I'm like thinking off the thing, but throwing it out of nowhere. What I would do though is I would use a dress and then the sneakers and playing that kind of cute, like if you're sold on the sneakers, because at least if she's wearing some type of like nice like gown thing, and then you do the dress and then you do the Converse, it's kind of a story around the Converse and it doesn't look like an afterthought, and it's like speaking to it and it's kind of like cute, and then the story kind of becomes about the shoes and about comfort, but it can still look expensive. I mean, see, people still might complain, but if you're so sold on the Converse, I feel like that's the way to do it. My point is, add some luxury with the Converse. Is my overall point, I guess, is what I'm saying. Nothing on her is luxury in that outfit.
Yeah. There's no, like you said, there's no juxtaposition. It's
Yeah,
so
that's the word, juxtaposition.
literal. It's so literal. It's so
Exactly.
gay. It's so go between. You could see her go.
I think what I did, I would have put her in an office and have her in like a cute, whatchamacallit, like a cute, either like a two-piece dress set,
Mhm.
or no, it won't work with the sneaker. I think it needs to be with the dress, in a two-piece dress, and then have her feet up on the office chair, and then like you see the shoes. I think that would be cute.
And there's
So it's
so
kind of like she took
Vogue is
off the
just
shoes because they hurt, and then
so
have the heels to the side. So then at least it's a story that's created.
Yeah.
Like she's in her office and she changed shoes because their feet hurt. But it's like she's working and it's like a working woman story. It kind of plays into something like that. But don't just throw her in Converse and put her against a fabric. Like that is where the problem lies, I think.
And it's just confusing all the way around because Vogue has had so many great sneaker moments recently with like Phoebe Philo, and those great chunky sweaters and the wide leg pants with the sneakers, or Victoria Beckham, in a suit and sneakers, for a sitting. And I don't know who the photographer is. I don't know who
Well,
the
no, because
editor
I guess
is.
Converse is what she likes to wear though. Because
No.
she's always photographed in Converse.
It's like you said, yeah, that's fine, but it just doesn't make sense for this moment, you
It
know?
doesn't make sense. Like, I mean, like if you, but I do think there is a way that it could have been made into like a chic editorial and still respectable thing. Like, I think it needed to be in an office setting, and then you could have maybe worked around it. I feel like you could have been possibly, there would have been a way. If you gave me, I almost want to do the idea came to me. I kind of want to do a shoot of what my cover would have been. I feel like that would be fun for me to do. I would be into doing something like that, but that's too much work.
You do it
But
on your TikTok. Ronald's got a TikTok going, everybody. It's very cute. Your ideas.
yeah, but I mean, you seen it?
Mhm,
Oh, when I sent it to you?
mhm.
Oh yeah, that's true. But what was I saying? But yeah, no, I would do it. No, but I mean, I would do like a full-on editorial because I mean, like, get a whole model and the whole nine and recreate it. But that's too much work. But I'm just saying, like, I think
Yeah.
a good springboard would be some type of office. But my point is, I think there is a way to incorporate Converse that works, but this wasn't the way.
It's just really sad all the way around. It just really was a missed opportunity, a really missed opportunity to, this first female vice president, first, someone leading in government, or, person of color. And there's just missed opportunities. This is just not the moment. This cover signified nothing, you know. Well, let's go move on and let's
Well,
look
yeah, the
at
next one.
some of
Well, yeah, now we move on to examples of past covers with her that did work, or with covers with her that
so
did work.
I didn't love this L cover. I liked it. I didn't love
I
it.
don't love it, but it's at least respectable for a
Yeah,
vice president.
no, and I definitely agree. Everything that's missing and everything that we're talking about is in this cover. She's signifying power. She's signifying a woman in charge. She's got, the great Washington, D.C., monuments behind her. And she looks fantastic. And I love the chair, out there on the grounds. And, I think a lot of, we'll kind of get into the AOC scandals on the right, but a lot of these political figures are very afraid to be fashioned, or, be sort of molded as a model. But I don't feel that way on the left. I feel like she was very in control of what she wore and the image that she was presenting here. So like I said, I don't love it because it's not, I'm a person who really gravitates towards fantasy, but it meets the brief. What
It
What are
does.
your thoughts?
I think it meets the brief. I'm not. Yeah, no, it's not like the most like out there and the craziest idea, but I think it's smart because they should. Where did they shoot it? What's the backdrop? It's like, where is
Oh,
she in front of?
I cannot remember the name of that monument, to be honest. So I was.
Yeah, but I mean, it makes sense because it's telling a story. It's like it's a political monument, so it makes sense. It plays to a story, and that, like I said, the concept is the first start. It's the most important part.
Mm.
So then you put her in a suit in front of that. It's brilliant. So yeah, not the most exciting, but I mean, at the
I
same
mean,
time, it's the vice president. You don't need to do too much either.
yeah. Ultimately, she looks like
Shouldn't.
herself. Like you said, we're not having the coloring issues here with the black and white.
Oh yeah, that too.
The light purple typography really punched it up and made it
And
not
you know what? Putting
that.
it black and white's genius too, because it makes it almost looks more presidential, more serious.
Mhm. So I absolutely adore the AOC cover on the
But
right.
what I will say is I do the AOC is appropriate, and if they did that something like that for her, it would have worked too. But I
Mhm.
will say the flowers, I feel like you should stay away from the flowers because then it becomes like too, it works for AOC because she's not the vice
Mhm.
president. But I
Yeah.
feel like for the president, we shouldn't go that girly. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So, but I mean, that's the whole conversation why Hillary Clinton really feared doing the Vogue cover again. She only did it once. I think it was 1998. Don't quote me on that. And she was very ball gown. She looked very Vogue. They were very into that big ball gown moment at the time, like Isa Mizrahi, Carolina Herrera, those type of big ball moments. but she didn't want to do Vogue again for when
Yeah.
she's running, for the past kind of 15 years where she's been more active in politics because she was feared of looking too feminine or too fashion, too this, too that, or not being serious, which I think is sad. Once again, I don't think people should really fear fashion or fear fantasy. But nonetheless, AOC got a lot of flack for this cover. She got
Oop.
a lot of flack
Oh, there you are.
for this.
Mhm.
But I think so many of the
What did you say? She got a lot of flack. I
lot
missed
of
some of it.
flack,
You
a lot
glitched.
of
Oh,
flack
okay.
about the price point of the designers. The Republicans were saying she bought all the clothes because they obviously have no idea how a magazine, works. That these are borrowed, for press purposes, and of course, their whole base gets, in this
Well,
fury.
I think you could do. I think you could do a dress. I just think it, like for such high figures in politics, I just think as long as it's not prissy, it's fine. You still just need to look like you could wear a dress and you could wear a gown. I just think as long as it's not prissy. AOC's cover is kind of bordering on prissy. It's juxtaposition because of the suit though.
Mhm.
But but I do think you can do like, I think you could wear a dress.
I loved it. I think it was just perfect for her. She's young. She's younger than me.
Yeah. Yeah, it works for
Um,
AOC, and AOC, and that's AOC's personality too.
yeah,
She is
she's a
in like
beautiful
florals and stuff
woman,
like that too.
and I think that it really showed her beauty, her intelligence,
Mhm.
everything that she stands for.
Yeah,
You know,
I wouldn't do that necessarily for Kamala with the flowers, but it would have been better than that cover, and it still looks like AOC looks more like a fucking respectable president than the actual vice president than the fucking actual vice president cover
yeah.
than
So
Vogue. So,
yeah, once again, the Vogue was just a missed opportunity. So here are some recent Vogue covers from
well,
around
just like
the
all
world,
over the world, like all
all over
over the
the
world,
world.
Vogues
This was a
that would
one
have worked.
Naomi here, a recent American Vogue cover,
That
and
one would have been brilliant to do something like that. You don't need the whole big elaborate backdrop with drapery and stuff.
mhm. And like you said, for example, this Dutch Vogue here, both these Dutch Vogue images really, are all of them really evoke more power and
That's
more,
what I'm saying. Those
um,
are all strong.
yeah, strength, even in a political way, they would,
Hmm.
signify all that. So it's just
They were so
that.
caught up. I feel like they were so caught up with like, oh, we're gonna do this whole thing about drapering, and that they didn't give a fuck about the clothes. And honestly, you should just, if the clothes should be the one doing most of the talking. Just put it against a colored backdrop
Yeah, I think
and
we're
just do a
in
strong power
such
pose.
a
Would have been better.
touch and go moment, with the social media. It's like they would have been Vogue would have been crapped on had it been too glamorous, had it been too
I don't think
masculine,
so.
had it been
I
this,
think
had it
something like
been
one of
that.
anything like those last ones we just showed. I think showed something would have been, because at least they're powerful.
Mhm. But
She doesn't look powerful in the one. That's,
yeah,
you can't
it,
deny
it
that.
it's so just nothing. It's just a nothing shot. It's a shot that could run, in a newspaper,
Yeah.
So just I'm Kamala, I'm here, I'm speaking on a Wednesday. It does not signify anything Vogue, timelessness. Vogue is really a moment captured in time. All these things I'm mentioning about the Mrs. Obama covers, the Hillary Clinton covers, all the various political figures from Elizabeth Warren to going to Lady Bird Johnson that have been shot by Vogue. I remember all those shoots because they were elegant, elevated, powerful, all those adjectives we're speaking of. And Kamala's image on the cover of Vogue just really doesn't say anything. It doesn't record any history or moment in time whatsoever.
True. No, that's very true. It's just a missed opportunity. It's sad because
It's very
I
sad.
think the biggest
Very
issue is
sad.
because it's the first black vice president, we
Mhm,
were expecting a lot. So to see something just so underthought
mhm.
is where the problem is.
And, I'm going to be just really, really honest and talk about the elephant in the room. This sitting would have went a lot better if Edward and British Vogue had done it.
Oh yeah, for
A
sure.
lot better, a lot better.
For sure.
So, and I don't know who the sittings editor was on this, but usually Tane Goodman's been involved with the political figures of the past. It does not look like
Yeah, I
she
feel like there
was
was, and
all
that's
the
another thing too.
time.
I feel like there was no black person on that team.
I think the photographer was black, so
Oh, was
at
he?
least from what
Oh,
I've
okay.
read. But
But let me tell you what I would have did though for the cover. If, because I always like to fix shit. I actually, like, I know I said that idea about the office or whatever, that was just trying to fix the commerce. What I actually would have did is I think I would have, since it's first black, I would have played into skin tone, and I would have done like a brown black drop and then some type of like a tan suit. And I would have played, and I may have cinched her hair, like put it into a ponytail back, and then like did it out, and I would have embraced ethnicity.
Oh, she would have never allowed that. Never.
You don't think she would let me? You don't
Yeah.
think she would let us straighten it? I mean,
I
I'm not
think
putting it in no afro. I'm
I
just
was with
teasing it
you
out.
on the concept of the background and the tan suit, that she has one hairstyle that she goes with, and I don't
Well,
think she goes
it's our job to take them
with.
out of their comfort zone,
Honey,
honey.
these are not models, they're political figures. They do
You
not
still can take them out of comfort zones.
they don't roll like that. They
Okay,
do
fine. Then we'll leave the hair how it is, but we still do tonal.
yeah. Tonal, I think,
because
will
then
be
it's
about as
because then it's
far
a
as you
story,
got.
and then it's really empowering, like black. It's empowering diversity and empowering color. So I think that's where that should have been the story to begin with. I think that would have been brilliant.
Yeah. So it's just sad, just sad.
But yeah,
There's no other thing to say but sad. Just very, very disappointed. We're both very disappointed. And I know
yeah, it's very sad. It's sad.
everyone around me is very disappointed too. You were not the first person to text me that image or,
Yeah,
talk about it, or it's just I mean,
it's a learning
I've
opportunity.
never known.
Well, I would say it's a learning opportunity for Vogue, but they made a lot of other mistakes, or they didn't really learn. You would have thought they would have known to do better.
It's just everything that has happened with that magazine in the past 10 years has just been a travesty, and it's definitely time for new leadership there, new ideas, new creative direction, because it is just stale, 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 staler than a bag of crackers at the Costco
Not the
that are
Costco,
thrown out on the dock.
the samples at Costco.
Yes,
But
already been opened out of the package, thank you.
but yeah, but
Okay.
that was our episode, you guys, and breaking down that atrocious cover.
And we're gonna do Drag Race. We're back with a new
Yes, now,
season, and we got a lot to say about these girls.
yeah, stay tuned for Drag Race because we're gonna want to see our thoughts on that.
Ronald, what are they gonna do?
Oh yes. In the meantime, subscribe down below. If you guys are not subscribing right now, I'm going to assume you're racist.
All right, bye.
Bye, guys.